All of the paintings that I did that I'd sent in for the fabric line. She said, "Oh, Mom, that's really pretty. That should be called Emma Grace." I was like, "Are you kidding? That's the name you have reserved." And she wanted to call it Emma Grace. But everything else are my dogs. And another squirrel, and a dot, and another medallion.
Wow.
Not a possibility.
Oh, and another dot. And I think that's it.
Cool.
There's
So that's
20-something pieces.
And did you tell them the name of your
Oh,
bag?
the bag, which looks better stuff, like she said, but it's Take 5's Totally Awesome Tote. So there's just 5 fabrics. And I was in a hurry to make it for market, so it didn't get all the pockets on the inside, but it's loaded with big pockets. And then a snap closure. So, and it's free. And that's the night before market starts. You get to go in and purchase items that are going to be shown at market. And they have bundles, towers of their fabric that they sell at samples free. Well, there's several designers that I love, and I get bundles of their fabric. I have a tendency to get 2, because one, I keep all wrapped up that I look at, and one that I will use. Now, I've got Kansas Troubles fabric that is now antique, and, you know, will never be cut up. But I have a lot of bundles of fabric, and it lines these shelves in my sewing room, in my studio. I got hooked into the jelly roll craze. You know, Valley Pop's jelly rolls. Oh my gosh, they're so much fun. I did a lot of patterns with them. But I got to the point where I get bored with something, and I wanted to start using my fat quarters again, but wanted to cut them up. And I found that when I was cutting these fat quarters, I was making mistakes. I am not a patient person. I try to go 90 to nothing, and I was always cutting 2 1/8 inch strips or 2 5/8 inch strips, but getting that 2 1/2 was hit or miss, you know. And even if I get it, I might slip when I'm cutting, just because of my impatience. I want to show you. The rulers all come with this. How many of us keep these things?
I do.
I do not.
Okay. I do.
I have no idea where mine end up. But this one is good to keep, because on the inside, you've got charts that I had them do. I wanted to show you exactly how many 5-inch strips you'll get out of a fat quarter. How many 5-inch charms. How many 2 1/2 inch strips, how many 2 1/2 by 5-inch rectangles, you know, which are your dessert bars, how many 2 1/2 inch squares, which are your petit fours, if you follow Moda's naming stuff, how many 6-inch squares, 6-inch strips, 1 1/2 inch strips, and 1 1/2 inch squares. So you know if you've got any pattern out there that calls for 1 1/2 inch squares, and you want to know how many you're going to get to cut out of your fat quarter, keep your little chart. Laminate the booger, do whatever you have to, keep it, scan it. But just in case you don't, do you see this little thing here? It's also on the ruler, right here. Okay?
All right.
You take your smartphone.
And scan that gizmo, and it takes you to the site.
And you scan that little booger, and up will pop a video where I show you how to use the ruler. Okay?
Wow.
And they're going to add the chart.